have Professor Jamil Jaffer, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute at the Antonin Scalia Law School at George Mason University, venture partner at Paladin Capital Group. You've been with us many times, and your expertise is well received. Thank you.
Congressman, thank you for having me, and thank you to the Spanish Senate and the Speaker of the Senate for inviting us all here today. And I'm thrilled to be on a great panel. It's really interesting that all of us have the same sort of history, all having worked in government, either in presidential administrations in the U.S. Or on Capitol Hill, or both, and then also now working in the private sector. Two of us at companies, one of us formerly at a company, and now myself as an investor as well. So it's really terrific to be here with you and to be talking with you all about what I think is really going to be the heart of global economic and national security, the AI revolution. AI will be a key driver, in my view, of economic opportunity, a key differentiator when it comes to intelligence collection, analysis, and on the battlefield. And you've already heard today from my colleagues about the risks and opportunities that AI presents. To be sure, there are significant risks, and there are big questions and debates to be had about discrimination, about disinformation, about the use of AI in warfare, and the like. But there are massive opportunities. In my view, AI is a tide that will raise all boats and make people more economically effective, more politically effective, and will be an opportunity for nations around the globe to rise to levels that have been unseen before. Just to give you a sense of the size of the AI market today, in 2020 alone, the AI market was valued at approximately $93 billion. That's 5 years ago. Today, it's worth about $243 billion. By 2030, 5 years from now, it'll be worth $826 billion by one estimate. That is nearly a 10x increase in a single decade. Private investment in AI totals about $150 billion globally last year alone. In a single year, $150 billion of private investment. In generative AI, private investment, the stuff that we've just heard about in the last year that's really caused this AI revolution to spring into the public eye. Private investment in generative AI from 2021 to 2024 went from $5 billion to $33 billion last year. Nearly 6x improvement. Half of all unicorns, companies that become worth $1 billion, nearly half of them last year were AI companies. That's up from a handful in the teens just back in 2022. So between 2022 and 2024, went from having them in the teens billions of AI companies, billion-dollar AI companies, to nearly half of the billion-dollar companies created in the world last year alone. Gives you a sense of how rapidly things are moving in this domain and how critical it is to economic opportunity. But as we look at these challenges, we also have to realize that the models that are being created, the opportunities that are being created, come in a variety of flavors. They rely inherently on massive amounts of data. They rely on access to compute, which requires access to power. And all of these things are opportunities for your governments, opportunities for your people, and present potential challenges if you don't move towards these things rapidly. Today, of the AI models built around the world, 40 were built in the US, 16 in China, only 3 in Europe, of the key AI models globally. The major builders of AI models are Google, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, Carnegie Mellon University, Stanford University, and Tsinghua University in that order. There's not a European company, not an African company, and only one Asian university on that list. That should be a wake-up call to every single parliamentarian in this room. The US and Europe lead on talent and development, but China leads on adoption and data, in part because significant amounts of that data have been stolen from countries and companies around the globe. Now, there are those who say we should treat the AI revolution as a threat, like nuclear weapons and global pandemics. I disagree. There are those who see more opportunity than risk in AI, and I would include myself in that group. And I might think it might be because of something that Kambiz said earlier, which is that I come from an immigrant family as well. My parents escaped socialism in East Africa. And they came to the United States, and in a single generation, their son got the opportunity to work in the White House. There are very few places in the world where that can happen. The goal should be to create more places like that in the world. AI presents that opportunity for all of your citizens. So what might we do, what might we think about as we look at how to deal with the AI challenges? Because there are real risks, but massive opportunities. Well, first, I think it's important to do no harm. The instinct that our people have, our citizens have, because they're concerned, is to ask you to regulate. Avoid that instinct. If you look at the outcome of the regulate first, innovate second mentality in Europe, the reality is GDP growth is dramatically below that of the United States. Economic development is dramatically below that of the United States. Social welfare living, no doubt, better, I'll grant you that. But on the things that matter for global development and for the countries all represented here, the opportunities for your people, regulating first and innovating second isn't the plan. I agree with Combs that you might think about a regulatory sandbox. In the U.S., we've heard proposals for a moratorium on AI regulation for a set period of time. That might be a wise idea to consider. You can also incentivize the development of AI. You can think about how to ensure access to data. There are fights going on today in the U.S. over copyright, questions about creation and invention of ideas and how you incentivize that and protect that. But you also have to remember, as you're protecting that, if you're going to build highly capable AI models, you have to have access to data. There has to be a path for data to come in massive amounts and be utilized and be transformed to create new innovation and new invention. You have to ensure that your population has access to compute. Combs talked about the recent travel of the president to the Middle East and the major deals being made to get U.S. compute and U.S. chips into the hands of some of our friends and partners around the globe. That's an important effort, and an effort that every country in this group should be part of. Remember, you can certainly buy AI chips from the United States. You can certainly buy them from China as well. Other nations will come into play as well. But think about what those chips come with. The restrictions, the capabilities, the ability to turn them off. Think about who you would rather rely on when that day comes. The United States, a democracy, flawed though it may be, or China, an authoritarian state? The answer is obvious. And you'll need to ensure that as you build these compute centers or rely on cloud and edge computing, that you incentivize development of power capabilities as well. And you can incentivize this through tax incentives, through government spending if you choose to do so. But you can also incentivize investors. Private investment in this domain is massive, as we talked about earlier. And there are reasons why private investors will invest in trusted, safe, and secure capabilities. It's because companies that build trusted, safe, and secure AI will obtain more rapid adoption, larger rates of adoption, and more sticky adoption. So investors are incentivized to invest the right way, and if you incentivize those investors to come into your countries, there are real opportunities to be had, as long as they're the right kind of investors and those who share your values and your beliefs. And I'll just close on this one thought, which is that we may be seeing the greatest revolution in our economic and national security history globally, certainly in our lifetimes. The time is now for you to jump on this opportunity, if not for yourselves or for your families, for your citizens and for your countries. Thank you, and I look forward to